All right, guys, today we're going to talk about equations versus expressions. So this is one of our easier topics, and it's going to be a really easy way to differentiate between equations and expressions. So in order for it to qualify as an equation, and you can kind of see that the beginning of the word equation kind of starts with the word equal, it's just missing the L. It needs to have an equal sign. So essentially an equation has an equal sign with a solution, an expression does not. All right, so it says blank is a mathematical sentence that uses a blank sign. So that's going to be equation. And again, in order to be an equation, it has to use an equal sign, okay? So if you see an equal sign, that's going to be your cue that it's going to be an equation. Now, sometimes we're going to see it verbally, meaning it's going to be written out in words. So the word equivalent of an equal sign is the word is. So if I said 2 plus 3 is 5, that is represents the equal sign. So if it says is a number, that's going to mean an equal sign. All right, so that would qualify as an equation. So let's go through some examples. We're going to talk about examples verbally and examples algebraically. So when I say verbally, I mean it's written out in words, and algebraically means it's written out as a mathematical sentence. All right, so it says 2 times D is 72. So these are examples of equations. And again, they're equations because they have is or equals. So 2 times D, well, we know that would be 2D, because we know when a number and a letter sit side by side, there's an invisible multiplication symbol in the middle. All right, so we have 2D, and then it says is 72. So is equals 72. And that's an example of an equation, again, because it has that equal sign or that is. All right, our next example, we have 7 plus R equals 11. So I'm going to come down here and I'm going to say, okay, 7 and then plus R. And then what's the word for equals? That would be is 11. And so, you know, sometimes verbally you're going to have your numbers written in words, and sometimes verbally you're going to have your numbers written in numbers. So you got to watch out for both. So that's why I gave you an example with both. Okay. Again, the key word here was is, which makes it an equation. All right. Our next example says 4 minus n is 24. So 4 minus n, and again, there's our is equals. So 4 minus n is 24. And remember, that is what makes it an equation, because that is turns into an equal sign. Our last example is going to be 12 divided by W equals 4. We know our slash is a division. So I'm going to write 12 divided by W, and again, is 4. So again, an example where you have your word here that's a number, but it's written as a word, and you have your number here that's written as a number. So you're going to see it both ways. I want you to be prepared for both ways. Again, keyword here was is, which turned into an equal sign. And then it says is a number at the end of a sentence means equation. So when you're reading, if it says is a, and then they give you any number, that is going to turn into a equation, because that means it has a solution, it has an equal sign. All right, let's move on to expressions. Let's move on to expressions. All right, so an expression is a mathematical sentence without an equal sign, okay? Without an equal sign, meaning there is no equal sign, also no is. So as long as it doesn't have an is and doesn't have an equal sign, it's going to be an expression. All right? All right, so let's look through some examples. So we have verbally 4 times 0.85 minus p. So you'll notice you do not see a single is in that statement. All right, which means we don't have an equal sign in this problem, meaning it is going to be an expression. So what does that look like? 4 times, so we have 4 times, so I'm going to use a dot for times, 0.85 minus the letter P. So you'll notice that nowhere inside of that is there an equal sign. So that makes it an expression. All right, our next example says 2 parentheses 7K close parentheses. So we know that there is an invisible times in between a number and a parentheses. So I'm going to write this as 2 times 7K. 2 times 7K. And again, do you see the word is? Do you see the word equals? No. So anytime those are lacking, those are missing, you're going to use it's an expression. Okay? It doesn't have a current solution. All right, the next one says 5 is less than twice m. So 5 is a great word, right? But I just told you these are expressions. So why does this is not count? Because that says is less than. So when it says is less than, do you guys remember what it is? It is a inequality symbol. It's an inequality symbol. So keyword here is, again, is less than. And so we're going to have 5 is less than twice m. And twice means times 2. So 2m. And again, is less than is an inequality symbol. So again, it is not going to be an equation. So don't fall for that little trick that they like to use. All right. The next one has parentheses 5 plus d, close parentheses, divided by 2. So in this one, we're going to say the sum, right? Sum means add. The sum of 5 and d divided by 2. I'm going to run out of room. Divided by 2. So again, you don't see the word is anywhere in there. It is an expression. We cannot solve it because it doesn't have an equal sign. All right, then we have double the product of 7 and k. Double the product of 7 and k. So hopefully you guys know that double is times 2. And product is the answer to an multiplication problem. And it says of 7 and k. So we're going to do double the product of 7 and k. So again, product tells me I'm multiplying my 7 and my k together. All right, so again, none of these down here had equal signs. None of them qualified as equations because they did not have an equal sign. Remember, equation has equal or is. Don't fall for this is, because this is less than, and we know that's an inequality. All right, so here's an example of a star question, and we'll finish up. It says, which of these can be written as an equation? So remember, equation means I'm looking for equal sign or is. So I'm going to go through my answer choices and see. So this first one says 3 times 0.35 plus r. So that's 0 times 0.35 plus r. And again, there's no equal sign in there, no is. So that is not an equation. All right, my next one says 4 is less than. So remember, is less than is not an equation. That's going to be an inequality symbol. So I'm going to go ahead and mark that one off because that can't be correct. All right, the next one says half the product of 6 and t. So again, as I'm looking, I do not see a single is. So the product of 6 and t, 6 times t, and then half the product would be half is divided by 2. So again, no equal sign, no is. And then ding, 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 down here at the bottom, we have is and a number. Remember, anytime we have is and a number, that means equals that number. So that is our equation. And so go practice solving equations versus expressions. Look for those equals and is.